Just kidding. Happy Wednesday now. I said happy Wednesday, and my mic wasn't turned on. So, all right, I don't know, you probably couldn't hear that. Anyways, I need to figure out so much. I keep saying that, and it's not happening. You know what? Let me play around with, what is that? That was not it. Hold on. Happy Wednesday. I am doing something a tiny little bit different today. I mean, not that much different actually. It's quite the same. Um, I know that's why that doesn't work. Never mind. I need to figure that out too. But yeah, I'm doing things a little bit differently today. I kind of almost don't want to hold this. Just challenge myself to be more in the moment. I hope you guys can hear me pretty well. So the only thing that's different, well, the only thing, yeah, one, obviously the thumbnail. I don't know how that will go. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it got a little too busy, and then I would like put all the things and felt like it wasn't like standing out, or maybe it was. I don't know. I might go back to that. I probably will. But maybe, I don't know. I keep trying new things. One, because I get bored and I want to try new things and things come up. And then two, I'm trying to also figure out to see if that makes a difference as far as obviously like click through rate and so forth. But yeah, the difference that like visually or inside the actual video, this right here, the only difference that I feel like I'm making is to today at least to be a little bit more casual about these topics. There's quite a lot of topics. I want to get through every single thing. Excuse me. I need I need a cough button. Every single thing that's on my list, and then what is not on my list but I keep getting the notifications. Boom, 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 boom. There's a lot of filings that happen in the Blake Lively world of things. Oh my gosh, so many, so many, so many. Oh my goodness. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Nine. Two I can see. So that kind of narrows it down. Yeah, there's an order on motion for extension of time. Let me bring that up. That's interesting. I wonder who ordered that. I can't click through and see. Notice regarding pro hack vice motion. And then reply memorandum of law in support of motion. That one, I obviously you can see here. I cannot see. I cannot do it. Maybe it's this. I wonder if I don't think it has. So we represent Wayfair Studios on March 14th, 2025. All parties except for the New York Times Company, for whom discovery is stayed, served their respective sets of already off to a tough start. Interrogatories. Um, Pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 33B2, answers and objections to the interrogatories are due within 30 days of service or by April 14th. In the aggregate, they did have a lot to respond to, didn't they? I mean, imagine they have Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, New York Times, and what's the other one? Leslie Sloan. And although New York Times has stayed, but Leslie Sloan threw something out there, and is that all? Yeah. And Blake only has them and Jed Wallace, who apparently replied to. Anyways, uh, together the Lively and Sloan parties have served nearly 1,600 requests for production and 179 interrogatories. And who was saying that? You know, like, oh my gosh, there's so many, too many. I think that trumps that number that they were saying that it's too many. An excessive number of discovery demands to which the Wayfarer parties have been diligently preparing responses, setting aside the obvious yet troubling implication that the Lively and Sloan parties do not actually know what they are looking for. Setting that aside, the Wayfarer parties have already responded in good faith to more than 500 such requests, with hundreds of additional responses expected in short order. Given that the Wayfarer parties and others have been engaged in extensive briefing in the past few weeks in connection with the motions to dismiss, and given all the part, oh yeah, so this is separate from that. Okay, yeah, so it's like we're a little overworked over here. So please give us a little bit more time. Also sought consent to an extension of the case management plan and scheduling orders April 18th. Deadline to move to amend. So the rule on the motions to dismiss by April 18th, especially given the Lively's motion to dismiss will not be fully briefed until April 10th. In their papers submitted in opposition, okay, wait, I want to know how long. Propose an extension to the deadline to move to April 18th. Okay, cool. And I'm guessing this is the decision. I forget the. It's weird that I hate when things open in the same window. I forget the technical terms. So this one is Wayfarer Party's opposition confirms the central thesis of Mr. Reynolds. Oh, this I remember. This is Blake Lively's, or wait, Ryan Reynolds. Gosh, they shouldn't do a different kind of way of introducing things. Confirms the central thesis of Mr. Reynolds' motion to dismiss. The fact is a meritless list of grievances and hurt feelings designed to retaliate against Blake Lively for raising SH and retaliation claims. The opposition is riddled with fatal concessions. As one example, despite the fact's preposterous 400 million damages claim, the opposition concedes that the fact, in fact, alleges no actual monetary harm whatsoever, instead relying exclusively on the defamation per se theory that, even if it were valid, which is not, fails to allege cognizable damages for any of the fact's other claims, blah, blah. Anyways, so yeah, maybe I'll get to this, but I know that I believe that I was watching, I watched Lauren's partially. I've been honest about this. Although these can be very interesting and they can be valuable, and we're really invested in this, there's a lot of these, and there will be more documents and things. And you know, for someone who has literally evaded reading anything in college and got my little B's and A's on simply, being in class, memorizing, or not memorizing, but like I don't know. Because reading was so hard. This has been a challenge. And also, when I read some of these, and I'm like, I want to wait for something that's like a decision, or something that's like alleged. Like the motions to dismiss were interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Just in my regular life, I'm not following this case that closely right now. There's so much that's kind of regular. Like, even just reading that, it made me think of, oh, these are lawyers fighting. Like, this is what lawyers do. This is what things like this do. They will be very vicious, and that's what they say, like, get a prenup, or don't get a prenup, but, like, be careful, like, in case you do end up in divorce court. Like, it's going to bring up the worst of people, especially lawyers getting involved. They want to win. Both sides want to win. And this is not even the lawyers wanting to win. So I feel like it doubles that, viciousness. And yeah, and it is interesting to read, but I also have, I don't know, just like a part of me is just waiting for something that's more like a decision. Like, I'm curious about the decisions. I'm curious about those things, and not so much every single detail. But again, I think a lot of it is also just because it's hard. Reading is hard. Reading is hard. I just spoke today. I had a phone appointment type of thing, and I thought it was going to be for ADHD kind of diagnosis planning or whatever, and it wasn't. So I hope I can get that and get resources and help. I don't want medication, I know that, unless it's like absolutely super, super, super incredibly crucial. But I want to learn, and I can do that already in a way, but I want to definitely learn ways to manage it. I know Speechify, this is not an ad, I'm not sponsored by them, anything, but I know I have tried and used Speechify. It's just really expensive. It's really expensive, but it's really helpful if you're in school and you need to learn. That's how I almost got through my first quarter, because they're in quarters, not semesters, of my marriage and family therapy program. Because I tried to read it, and I was like, it was just piling up and piling up and piling up. It was more like, it felt a lot more like a PhD program than a master's program, because they're just like, we're like, here, read all of these, and then have some questions about it. And it was never a class. It was just stupid. It's stupid. If you think of going to Capella University, I would advise against it, unless you just need to be provided a text to read, and that's all. Then it might work for you. And I do like the idea of their program, but in practice, I don't like the laziness in today's world, where you can quickly record a webinar or whatever, and then content creators do this all the time. They create a webinar, and it makes it kind of feel live, and then you have a chat where people can participate in it and pretend that it's live, and the person is on the chat, or a moderator is on the chat when it is going live, but it's pre-recorded. So it's not even that, like, oh, they have so many classes, or they have, there's no excuse. You can still treat it like a regular class. I don't think that all the universities, until this online thing happened, were just not teaching their classes at master's level. I don't even know if PhD too. I think it's like more geared towards research though. So I don't know, whatever. So it bothered me, and yeah. But yeah, if you are in that case, Speechify is kind of, it's not perfect, but it's helpful. So I've thought of doing that for this, but again, it's so expensive. When you're in school, you do have a discount rate, but yeah. Anyways, I know I already kind of dived right into the Blake Lively stuff, but I wanted to mention a couple of things. One, I was just in Meisner class, and I think I can do the Wednesdays. I think I can make it, especially if I'm better prepared than today. But it was frustrating. It was like an awesome scenario, or complex relationship scenario that we did. It was really cool, but I feel like I feel really a lot of shame because I was not able to be full as far as emotional prep, and I just feel like I let them down, and they had less maybe of an exercise than they would have otherwise. At least one of them. One was like super full, and was awesome. Um, so yeah, so I'm very frustrated with myself, but it is cool to be in person again. And there's some changes that I was talking to the owner slash also instructor for this one, for this class, that sound really like a good move. And one I might be involved in one of those at least. So that's like really cool. But yeah, I'm just very frustrated. Just very frustrated. And I for sure didn't get like the best out of this exercise. And going to once a month it's like, it's not like, oh, I have two other chances this week. No, I mean once a month, once a week. Um, but there was something else, but I can't remember. Oh, and I saw someone from like back in the day who I actually met while like doing a 48-hour film project. They were in my 48 one year, and then a couple of years later, we saw each other in class, and then here we are so many years later. And yeah, I've been also doing these vlogs, and I'm not gonna lie that there's everything in me is resistant to them. I really believe in them, and so like it's like it's not moving because I really believe in them, and I'm really resistant to them, and so we're at a standstill. But Sunday one came out this morning, and then I'll try to get the other ones like rapid fired. And I'm trying not to overthink and over edit these. That one was a bit, but yeah. And then tomorrow, I actually got tickets to see A Nice Indian Boy. One, I did like the movie. The only way that I wouldn't have gone to see the movie, even though like, it's Wayfair is, I think, such a small part. Although I saw on their Instagram it's quite a big thing, because they're probably like, this is all we have right now, and we don't know the future. Let me pull that up. But yeah, it isn't. I didn't expect it to be in such select. Um, Wait, they have a theater now? Hold on. I didn't expect it to be in such a small amount of theaters. I thought it was going to be a bigger release. But yeah, I did find it funny when we were watching it. I was like, oh, I think this is going to be a good movie. But even if I didn't, the only way that I wouldn't have gone is if it was like a horror movie or something, and that also like select theaters, because like not being able to go with anyone, or yeah, it would have been challenging. Oh, sorry, my finger slipped. So yeah, I don't. This is new. Wayfair theaters. Do they have their own movie theater? That's what it's saying. That's what it looks like, right? Let me click to one of these. Let's go with this one. Oh, I wonder if it's like online then? You have an account? Oh, it's an online thing. Deborah Messing, what is going on? This is so randomosities was something that I came up with wow, a long time ago, quite a few years ago, and I feel like this is a good time, um, because I didn't know what I would do. Why can I? No, it is. It's in Illinois. That is so interesting. Wait, I'm gonna. Well, I don't want you to see my Google Maps. I'm gonna search for it now. That's cool. I just hate when that happens. Stupid stuff. That is like, honestly, that is one of the, no, it ends. Sorry, this is sadly funny because it doesn't even say it ends with us. It just says it ends. Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni. It ends. That's it. The end. It probably was like moving and it was going to say it ends with us. And yeah, that is interesting. Look, see, look at that. Look what we found. Oh, what is that? That's interesting. We are flowers of one garden. Unity. It was, who was talking about? Oh, yeah. Apparently oh, this is so freaking cool. This is really cool. I'm sorry. This is so awesome. I'm just stuck watching this now. What was the point of this one? Who took this photo? And who decided to put it on Google? Where there is love, nothing is too much trouble, and there is always time. I tried to fight that. I'm like, no, I cannot. Like, no, like, people are complicated. Life is complicated. And then I'm like, no, yeah, that is true. So yeah, it's very Baha'i-ish. Very Baha'i. I don't know. Hey, Taylor Swift. It had the Eras tour. Adorned or whatever. That's pretty cool. That is really, really cool. Well, look at that. We found something out. Something new. And they have, like, not just like their movies. What is this? October 8th. From executive producer, October Hate is a documentary about the explosion of anti-Semitism on college campuses, on social media, and in the streets of America in the aftermath of October 7th. Oh, that's cool. Didn't know. Again, found another thing out. Oh, direct. Oh, interesting. Wendy Sachs. Okay, but yeah. So I am excited to see this tomorrow. Not this one, sorry, but the Nice Indian Boy. This one. I know, Angel, I think you said that it wasn't really your thing, so you're going to skip it, but you wish him the best. So yeah, that's fair. My original message said, if you want, of course, like no one has to like sit through something that they know they'll not like. That is not their thing. So yeah, that's another piece of news. And then I was going to ask you guys some things, but you guys aren't here, so I'm gonna skip and just get into the topics. All right, and I want to keep saying this more and more. What are some topics out there that you would like me to cover or you're interested in? Maybe I'll be interested in them too. Sometimes it's really hard to see different new things. I don't know how YouTubers do it because there's so many pieces of news, and I think because I focus on something so much that can't I literally can't really see everything else. So let me know. But yeah, let's get into it with, we already did the court listener things. The Taylor Swift BFF again with Blake Lively. Now they're saying that it was a planted story. I said on my live, I don't know how to feel about this. Or I didn't say that phrase, but I think that it's great for us to read something, to learn something, and not have an instant, immediate opinion on it. And that, maybe will be a great thing now, because it just, whatever it is, whether it's planted or not planted or whatever, it smelled so fishy. It either smelled fishy that they were never not friends and they never had a falling out, or it smelled fishy that, you know, it just didn't. And also, I will say that it did sound like them, these two women, that at least what we're seeing from them play out quite immature. So it did sound like that, but also it sounded weird anyway. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't think either of them will speak out about it. And definitely not the person that leaked it or planted it. But if that story with Taylor Swift was truly planted by Blake Lively, imagine, I mean, it, it's almost impossible to think that's true, because just like I couldn't believe that she could just lie, in a court document. But here we are with, hi Maria, welcome. It's been like a couple of lives. Oh my gosh. But just like, yeah, it seems like she's lied a couple of times at least, and maybe she's lying about a lot of it. Um, that was really hard to imagine. Like, who lies? Who would lie about those allegations? But more so, who would lie in a legal document? And I mean, this is not, confirmed. This is just speculation so far based on the proof that we've seen so far. It seems like there are lies in her CRD complaint and so forth. So if she would lie in those, like, but I feel like it's less likely for her to plant lies about her and Taylor Swift in the press, because in their world, I feel like that has more consequences. And just bear with me. In the court document, you can say, and I don't remember who said, like, she kind of left it all as, like, I believe this to be true, instead of this is true. I don't remember exactly the phrasing and all. So let's say that's how it went. So there's like an openness to, like, oh, well, I can't get in trouble because that's what I truly believed. With Taylor Swift, if she planted a story about Taylor accepting her apology and them, rekindling their friendship, there is nothing to win with that, because Taylor Swift, I mean, is more powerful than her, at least right now, in the last couple of years, and like in their network and so forth. But even besides that, like with them, like, the one thing that I don't see Taylor Swift is to be a pushover. I feel like she's strong enough that if someone, I never had a problem, and I stand by this. I didn't really see the problem and the big deal with the dragon text and all that stuff. And I don't know if that was like, I mean, yeah, Taylor Swift can be petty and immature, so she might have had that problem. But a lot of people talk about it, and I feel like it's kind of a bandwagon thing that someone said that it's so offensive and everyone's on that same boat. I don't find it that offensive. Like I said, if my friend that I would like go to battle for, and hopefully you have friends like that. I don't, but kind of like, yeah. I mean, if I kind of back up people even if they're not my friends with that same veracity, but I would not mind being called that. I know I'm no one and I'm not like as big as Taylor Swift and I blah 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 and I don't have this history, but that's the other thing. Like I don't have the history, I don't have the same triggers. Okay. Um but regardless of that text, I just don't think it would be absolutely, I guess, like narcissistic, like the narcissism, the like by the book narcissism, excuse me, the pathology of it, to just blatantly lie like that, because to lack the understanding that person will come back to you about it, even if not in public. But if you do that in public and they don't respond in public, but you are for sure like burning that bridge with them, is what I'm trying to say. So maybe she doesn't care, but it also, again, it'll come out if it's not true. I mean, there's no way that it's not going to come out through all these years, through all these months, through all these weeks. It's just like really a weird thing if Blake Lively planted that story or a team or whatever. And I mean, the other option would be that she did that and then we'll blame it on the team. Like, well, they did that without my consent or whatever. The other part is like if that is true, I do for some reason, I don't know, it's just like a mixture of feelings. I do worry like how manipulative it would be towards Taylor Swift, and I hate saying that because I don't feel like she's that innocent, in not just in all of this, but in general. Like she is a master manipulator, you know. Some would say for the best, for the better, but she really knows how to orchestrate things, how to maneuver things and control things. I mean, she's not perfect as no, she's not God, you know, she's a human being. So she can't literally control humans. Um, but as far as like marketing and stuff, I mean, her mom was it head of marketing or something like that, chief marketing officer, or maybe like not that high, but like her mom was in marketing. That's what her career was. So she had so much going off of that. And then, you know, when it's your daughter, I imagine you study real hard with anything that was maybe not as like um, interesting before. Like when it's your daughter, you maybe that I should do that as a relationship and as an activity. But yeah, anyways, I need the two lawyers to touch on this. Yes, in her CRD, she said that she believed it was true and not it actually happened. Yeah, yeah. Um, didn't they? Weren't they the ones saying it or talking about it? I don't even remember. This is like I've entered that space where I don't remember where I hear or see things at. Colleen Hoover's assistant said she was at the filming and stuff was happening and the truth will come out in Discovery. Meaning like what Blake Lively is saying is true, the truth, kind of like that side. Will be very interesting. Oh, you missed it. I don't think you were here yet, Maria. Okay, yeah. Well, what a surprise, I guess. Um, Wayfair has its own movie theater. I went to because I am going to see a nice Indian boy tomorrow, and yeah, the first thing on Google, and then Deborah Messing has a some movie out. But yeah, I just Google that and I'm like, wait, they have a movie theater. It's in Illinois, and it's a legit movie theater, and it's really cool. Um, but yeah, and then I hate that it does that. Sorry, my screen. And this will also tie in with because it has a lot of Baha'i understandings or decorum or whatever, like sayings and things. Like the one, oh gosh, Justin's favorite one, which close it. There's never, when there is love, there's never too much time or too little time and something. Gosh, I'm butchering it so bad, and it's not that hard. And it's not that hard, but somehow I'm butchering it so bad. But yeah, this is where it's at. Where is it? I want to get this quote. Yeah, there you go. Where there is love, nothing is too much trouble, and there is always time. It's so simple, so simple. But yeah, so that's a Baha'i quote, and nope, that is not okay. Well, that's like my school. um, yeah, so if anyone is in the Illinois area, Highland Park, which I'm guessing is near Chicago, there's that, and they play other movies too. But yeah, okay. And so this will the thing that I was saying about I don't even remember what. I am going to go into Ophie Dokie's 5 Feet Apart video. It's not, well, yeah, it's kind of like destroying but not, well, the movie and the marketing. And I know I actually got a message from Lauren saying like, you do you. I already covered that, and trial around the movie, and I'm like, it's not about the trial, it's not about the screenplay. She mentions that briefly at the end, but she talks about some, and I'm supporting Justin, right? And I, of course, my confirmation bias did not want to believe that I was seeing anything of value. But I kind of showed in the last live, like, there's some pretty good receipts, unfortunately, that nothing as far as like the SH claims or anything like that, nothing like that. But as far as the marketing may have come indeed from Wayfair. And we did see some of that. I mean, I'm 99% sure that, this is kind of true, unfortunately. It doesn't make it, it doesn't make Blake better or Justin worse. But as far as the marketing, I think that one is not exactly as we've really fought for. And we even saw in the amended complaint from the Wayfair side, there were some text messages when they were showing like, look at all our text messages. There's some text messages that where Justin was saying like, can we have like survivors on our Instagram, like post their stories, or have them like speak, how this changed their lives or whatever. I forget. Sorry, I forget exactly the details. And I remember saying in my 10 hours of reading that complaint, I remember saying that it seems like they better have gotten consent, because it feels like naive marketing. It feels, some would say, exploitative. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily exploitative, but I would say naive, because you're what? No. Because you're like, it's coming from like a logical place, but it's kind of taking away the complexities of being public about things that are very vulnerable and worse, and so it's like it's ignorant, not naive, ignorant, well, naive too. But yeah, she has some receipts that I checked as well, and I didn't check everything, or I don't know, I like, when it got into criticizing the movie, I have thoughts about that as far as all of these types of movies. Um, but yeah, I didn't check that part. I didn't really check. And she even said, like, there's part of the um, cystic fibrosis, CF, right? Community, part that criticized the movie, part that, rejoiced about the movie. And it seems like very much like this. It ends with us too. It ends with us as well. Um, like it's kind of messy because also Colleen Hoover and her view of it, of the book and the marketing for the book, was already, went through similar situations. So yeah, I don't know, but I'll go into that right next. Let me see if there's anything else before that. No, I already covered all of these other things. Jersey Flaw covered the one Salma Hayek thing that I shared with you guys. Like, was it 2 months ago? I think it was 2 months ago. I don't know, February. Yeah, because I was like, I was trying to look at when I sent it to her, and it was like in February. And yeah, she sat on that quite a while. And I guess, I don't know if this is like her understanding of it, or if she got confirmation that supposedly, like, Selma was talking about Harvey Weinstein when she was saying, what was she saying? Like, I watched Blake, her, take on the biggest bully in Hollywood. And I remember saying to you guys too, like, I don't, like, all I know is that she didn't. All I know is that Blake was like, yeah, that's terrible, but like, that was as far as it went. And how, like, she tried to make it a bigger conversation, which, yeah, true, it is a bigger conversation. That's an interesting point. But yeah, Dave was saying, if it's true, why file all this crap when there's proof? I know. That's why, like, it's just. Oh, you mean like, if what she's saying is true, why file the crap, or like if it's. Wait, I don't know. I didn't watch his videos today. I'm guessing that was from today or yesterday. I know I did watch his yesterday. Did I watch yesterday? Oh my gosh, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the whole point with everyone, because one side is, you know, on the truth side more than the other, at least, if not completely. And so, like, what would be the point in anyone lying, or, whatever? Which is a very good question. I don't know if that's exactly. I'm reading your question, or his question, your telling of the question. Like, um, if it's true that there was no SH, then why do it? Or if it's true that there was SH, why go through all of this motion to dismiss or whatever? And why not just, like, show the proof? I don't know. Oh, and then I'll just mention, I'm not pulling things up, but Ryan Reynolds wine. I have a couple of, actually, I have quite a couple of issues with that. One, why are we trying to make everything less? Why are we trying so hard to make stupid cool and stupid be good? I don't know if stupid is the best word, but, less educated, less loving, less, like, educated, not just like um, books educated. And also, that dog is not cute. I'm sorry, but that, and especially combining that dog with a food product, is like the last thing you should be doing. I just got so grossed out. There's no way I'm touching that wine. Like, the tongue falling out. Like, I'm so sorry. Sure, they found the dog cute from Deadpool, Dogpool. I'm just grossed even just thinking about it. if the assistant is saying what Blake is saying is it's true, why is Blake filing all these motions? Yeah, okay, so I did understand that was the first understanding that I had of it, but I couldn't even like phrase it. Yeah, well, yeah, I you know, oh sorry, I didn't put wine. Like, why is it just a picture of him? Um, yeah, I think because that's kind of the process and trying to that's just like the process of things. But yeah, like, where's the proof? Why are you not sharing any proof if there is proof they're up to something? I mean, I think the motions to dismiss, I don't see them as being anything but like I'll trust that as to lawyers saying that it's very typical. And when I was reading partly this last one from like the response from Brian Reynolds' team or whatever, um, I'm like, yeah, I totally have seen this in the lawyer movies. Of course, that's, not reality, but, as far as lawyers trying to poke holes at the other side and tear the other side down as much as possible so they don't have to work as hard later, if that makes sense. That's what I'm seeing with those motions to dismiss. They're up to something all the time. I mean, they've been up to something this whole time. So, yeah. Um, I don't know if it's like something more. I don't know. I just feel like, as far as the SH stuff, her list, I think there was maybe one or two things that were actually like, whoa. Everything else was like, what are you talking? This does not seem like SH, And I may not be the most woke person, but I'm woke enough, and I'm a woman enough to know, like, what it feels like to be uncomfortable, even if it's just you, and it's not them, but you feel like, oh, this doesn't feel right or whatever. And so, but a lot of the things that she was saying, it's like not SH stuff, but it just feels a little too crazy. But I think Hoover's assistant is going to lie. Yeah, well, but are they going to lie on the stand? Why isn't she one of Blake's team witnesses? She might be. It's not coming fast enough as far as like the trial, the depositions, but also I don't want it to go faster because like they just filed a motion, Wayfair filed a motion for extension until the 18th to reply to all the discovery petitions or whatever, because they're like, we got through like 500 out of the 1600. Like, we're just inundated over here. Yeah, perjury. Yeah. I think there's also ways to like go around it. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that would be an interesting thing. I mean, oh gosh, it would just be terrible if anyone, honestly, on any side would lie. This is not what we need. But also, not to make it political again, but that's what's happening in the political world. Is basically lying is okay. You'll be fine. You won't go to jail. You won't have any consequences to lies. You'll be fine. So it like sets such a terrible precedent. Amber Heard did, and her sister too. Nothing happened to them. Yeah, because I think it was Ask Two Lawyers that were talking, or was it Dave or who was talking about this? One of these people that we watched was talking about there's different levels of, lying and like what you can get away with in as far as like from jail. No, it was a crystal ball or with a crystal ball or something. I was watching her YouTube video. I think that was it. And so it could be that way. I don't know. I don't know because gosh, it's complicated when, like, to really lie, unless they say like something happened that didn't, then a lot of it can be like perceived, you know. It's going to be very interesting because if they do get to that stage, to that point, it's going to be interesting. Again, like how the Ask Two lawyer said, you know, it's one thing to act your way through it, or to be prepared by your lawyers. I added that, they didn't say that, but yeah, to be prepared by your lawyers and, you know, be prepared to answer questions and like kind of dodge them enough. But then another thing to actually go be there on the stand or in the deposition, and this person that's done this so many years to like take you through that journey to like checkmate you. Um, but as far as like Amber lying and then nothing happening to her and her sister, that's interesting. So there you go. Like even more reason for them to think like, oh, I can lie and there's no problem. I don't know if this judge will like that very much. I feel like he's called them out quite a lot as far as, you know, what they're trying to like get away with. So we'll see. But yeah, back to this wine situation. Um, I cannot look at this dog. I cannot look at this dog. Ugly Estates. First of all, my first problem with this. So you're trashing glass. What are you? What side are you? Do you want more plastic? Because, you know, these cartons need plastic. You cannot not have plastic because, you know, I don't know, but, you know, I kind of went to science class, but not that much. But like paper, which is what carton is, but just a different type, is porous. And if you don't have plastic shielding it, like liquid seeps through and melts. Actually, I was trying to take my the one night, the Oscar night, I put press on nails and I was trying to take them off. And I took, because I didn't want like glue and all the stuff in like a cup. So even if it's washable, because it's also porous, ceramic is porous. Um, and so I put soap in this cart, you know, those, not, gosh, what are they called? Cups, paper cups for coffee. And it instantly started like seeping out. And so, you know, it wasn't, that was too strong for it. The chemicals in there, the glue, the soap, etc., dissolved the plastic and then it got through. So this is not healthier. This is actually worse for our health. We already have a lot of microplastics in our brain that they're finding, and in our body probably, who knows. And this is not, you know, something crazy to think about. Um, it makes sense. So we don't want plastic in our bodies. We don't want plastic, and then this is what you come up with. We want more glass. We want more ceramic. We want more steel, like stainless steel, and all these things. But glass has been around for so many years. We want that. We don't want to go backwards to have worse health problems, and to also make the world worse with more plastic. Because there's also on these packs, usually Tetra packs or whatever they're called, there's also like a film, I believe, of like a coating on it. And I don't know if that's like plastic necessarily sometimes, but it could be just like, not hot stamp, I forget what they're called, but it's like a microfilm or some sort of film on paper, like a coating. So yeah, besides those, and besides the ugly dog and the dog that is like, you literally do not want this dog with food, next to food. But besides those two issues that I have with this, um, it's just like, again, why are you trashing something? Why are you trashing people? And why are you trashing something that's aspirable to? I don't drink wine. I don't like wine. My body doesn't like wine. But it's definitely, like Jersey was saying, it's culture. Why do we need to be stupid? Why do we need to be less than good, less than better? Why not better ourselves but go backwards and like the stupider, the cruder, the, you know, yeah, less evolved human beings we are, the better. This is what you're advertising right now, literally. I forget. I don't feel like pulling up the whole ad right now, but that's kind of literally what he's saying in there. So I don't understand this whole thing, besides that it makes perfect sense with his brand and their thoughts, but this is so terrible in so many different ways to me. So yeah, so there's that. I know there's like carton wine, which is probably cheaper than this one. Maybe even tastes better. I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? Um, but yeah. All right. Let's go straight into. I do have the Oliver Stone thing, but let's get into that whole thing. Um, oh, you don't drink, yeah, yeah, me neither. So it's not gonna affect me necessarily, but it's just like, come on. You just need. I wonder if they came up with this in the last few months, because they're like, oh, we need money for this lawsuit. So, so I need to come up with something, because there's he's not inventing or even reinventing the wheel. He's not even reinventing the wheel. There's already box wine for years. That was the first thing that my family would get, like, here. Um, I don't get it. And there's like these kind of like pint wines or whatever also. So like, what? There's no point. There's no point. So I think, yeah, I think there's something to my theory there, but maybe not. All right, so let me share my screen. Well, I don't know that I'll go through a lot of this, but
Free Tax USA. Free, let's break that down. Free federal returns for every.
No, is
also
free.
it is not free. I just started looking at my taxes, and like, do you make more than this or blah blah blah, then it's not free. I'm like, great, thank you. All right, but it is much cheaper than TurboTax. It's not like 30, 40, $50. um Anyway, so for anyone who doesn't know, and Marie, you're kind of the only one here today. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I can't get like a. Okay, that's like a decent. This is Ophie Dokie, and I found her. I mentioned last time. I thought I found her just randomly, but I think I found her from some sort of video. Anyways, either way, she's pro Blake. She's a Blake supporter. She's also anti Justin, just because he's a man. And I do say that because it's quite clear. That's how she speaks. And that's not feminism, but that's what she claims feminism is, to hate men, basically. But I don't think she would say hate men, but yeah. Yeah. So I tried to watch two of her other videos on this whole thing, and I couldn't swallow it. Oh yeah, Jersey, because she has this video where she, I don't think calls Jersey out by her name, but is all about her. And yeah, I just, and my thoughts around people, social commentators, content creators, whatever, news people, whatever you are. I have, of course, my own issues with, if you're going to have an opinion and you're going to present things, we're all biased, but don't do circular thinking. Don't, like, be careful of your own personal bias, and be careful also before you're speaking to an audience and you're like saying, this is how it should be. The world, this is how the world should be. This is, what men do. This is what women do, whatever. When you're generalizing like that, I would love if people would take a little bit more time to self reflect and understand what they're actually valuing what their values and morals actually are. Because I think they like start and they get to the surface and like, oh, this is it, this is what I believe, and then they don't go deeper and understand why they believe that and why they should believe XYZ. And that's what I would say about her. Um, and people, maybe on both sides, but definitely on the Blake side. Every person that I saw that's arguing for Blake is taking Blake at her word instead of um, using any of the evidence, even this very small evidence that Blake provided. It's only about like I was watching another video. It's always like, oh yeah, like she didn't have anything, on her body when they filmed that scene, instead of like she said that she didn't have anything on. And I do, my friend did this. Hi P, welcome. Just in time. I just started on this, and this I feel very, I believe in this. I believe in covering this, even though it is not popular with pro Justin supporters. But I believe in like being fair and not being blind. Not putting our blinders on. And as far as the small research I've done, because she already did the research, but the research into her research, it is something worth talking about. No one's, I think, taken me up on it, but yeah. And Lauren was like, yeah, you do you, but she will not cover it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that what we're criticizing of Blake's side, So that's why I'm covering this. And yeah, and I'm not, also I didn't cover that's the other reason that oh yeah, no problem. I mean, you were saying that to P, sorry. That's the reason that I don't cover her other videos, because I think those other videos are just biased. They're just not substantiated. They're not substantial. They're not like grounded into anything that's, evidentiary. What am I speaking? What words am I using? There's no, it's the other videos, like mini Blake supporting videos, are just taking Blake at her word and having this, what is that word, misandry, the opposite of misogyny, like the misogyny for men, misandry, misandry, um yeah, misandry is the hatred of, contempt for, or prejudice against men or boys. So that's like all they do is like combine, like, oh yes, I've hated men my whole life. Not exactly, because as children we don't have that, but I've hated men my whole life, and men deserve this, and they have to pay, they can't always get away with things, and this and that and that. And then they take and they combine these two, and that's what everything's about. And I call it circular thinking or circular reasoning, but I don't know if that's exactly what those are. But it's just because like it's proving, it's kind of like defining a word with the word itself. It's just like kind of going in there. It's not actually doing. But this one does. This one does go ahead, like outside of itself. So yeah, it's not looking great as far as the marketing. That's mainly what this is about. Most of this video. I pulled up, I don't know if I can find it again. Oh, yeah. Pulled up last time too. I'll just put it here. This is, so, anyways, she starts talking about how, oh, sorry, before I keep going. Oh my gosh. Can't believe
At
like
Firestone Complete Auto Care.
so many. The one criticism I have, I mean, because everyone can say whatever and whatever, but the one weird criticism I have is that the whole videos she talks like this. I don't understand why. It looks very uncomfortable, and I'm not trying to be petty with this, but this is all I think about when I watched her videos, or any portion of it, because the other ones I couldn't, like, this is the only video I've watched that I actually finished. um, but I'm like, this feels so unnatural. At least like move, if you want to like pose and just pretend like you're the girl with a pearl earring all the time. At least move the text here so you're like looking at the text and then like that way. But also like it just it bothers me because it's unnatural and I hate that. This is why, for a long time like film and all that. I hated theater because it wasn't natural. I hate unnatural stuff. It just bothers me. And that's coming from my attachment style that has a deep distrust wound. So I don't trust easily. So anything where it's like not natural or like fake, bothers me a lot. I have a high sensitivity to it. So just getting that out of the way. Per GV's complaint, Blake was given access to a body double. She declined, so she's being assaged. She's uncomfortable, created at 7. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember about the body double thing. Didn't opt to use the body double. Yeah. Oh, sorry, and I think I branched out and I didn't close that branch, and I think it's an important branch. So my friend did this the other day. I don't, and I'm sure I've done this, but I do try generally to be present enough to not do this. Where, and I've not seen us like talk a lot about this in this way, but what I see, especially when you're on the other side with Blake Lively supporters, they talk like it's fact. And at this stage, like I hope that most of the time, unless it escaped me, I would address things that are factual, as far as like the email that is screenshot, or the text messages that are screenshot, or screenshots of things, and everything else. I hope that I tried my best, I know, but I don't know if I succeeded, that I would say like, this is what they claim, or like, oh my gosh, if this is true, that's crazy, or whatever. Because at this point, anything that's not like factually in front of us is an allegation, is like hearsay. It's what each whoever team says. And that's what I find that the Blake supporters constantly say, that whatever Blake writes, like they just treat it like, oh my gosh, yeah, did you read that? They did this and they did that. Yeah, so anyways, but that's like just something pre to this. Did you hear who was this? Oh yeah, you're telling her to people are not going through her social media. Her PR is up to something. Oh, sorry, just one question about that, and I'll get back to my thing. Because you mentioned this to me too. I understood Blake's PR, or are you talking about Colleen Hoover's PR? You're talking about Bleaks, right? I think so. Anyways, okay. So she starts around like
Baldoni directed
what?
movie that has a more solid basis for claims of it being stolen. We're not talking about It Ends With Us today. We are talking about Justin Baldoni's directorial debut, 5 Feet Apart. But first, I would once again like to thank my friends at Aura for sponsoring today's video.
There was someone that did. I don't know if it was Dave or someone that did an ad recently that was like, okay, I like that. It's just an ad. You recognize it's an ad. You're not trying too hard. It was probably him.
Posts how they can relate because they've experienced a long distance relationship.
So this was, I got up to here and I was like, I don't, 6 minutes is great that I got so far. But I was curious about this. I've not seen this movie because it's not something that interests me, and it's on my list. I've wanted to, but I really don't like these types of movies. Um, and she talks about that, and I think it's good points, but it's not special to Wayfair or Justin Baldoni. This has happened so much, so many years. A Walk to Remember was my first and last movie like this. Taking terminal illnesses and things and just putting them in a romance scenario. I don't know. I remember A Walk to Remember. Weird phrasing there, but I remember it, and I was like, why did I have to watch this? Why did they make this movie? Like, I do not. It scarred me. It scarred me. But yeah, so this is like a big chunk, or at least from how I felt watching this was like the main chunk that I'll be covering. Kind of, I think. I don't know. I don't remember my notes. But this is the big chunk where they had Wayfair released this movie, or had this movie coming up in release, and they got these influencers who I never heard of until now, but they got them to do these ads, or these like promotional posts to promote the movie. And it was a bad look. It was a bad look, but also understandable. Like I said, I think I see it as naive, and this is not because of Justin Baldoni. And I will also say why I feel like it's different than Blake and what she did with her brands. But yeah, I think it's naive and ignorant marketing, because they, like she was saying, and it's written here, like the theme of physical distance and how it spans more than just cystic fibrosis, and how like anyone can relate. And I think like in their minds, they're either just ignorant, period, or they spun in more like coming from like trying to have empathy to people that could not relate, and trying to get people that might be like, I'm not seeing this movie because I don't have anyone with CF in my life. I don't have CF. I don't care about it. And try to make it more relatable, like, hey, like even if this isn't part of your world, you can still relate to this, and come watch it. And then, once people are in the movie theater and watch this movie, the idea being that they will be moved, and, there will be more awareness around this, and maybe, will lead to good, to better. That's my understanding from a marketing perspective, as someone who has done marketing here and there for the last 6 years or whatever. Not every marketing that is tone deaf is malicious, I would say, or it should be canceled or whatever. Some tone deaf marketing is from a very good place. It's marketing is tricky because it is there are violations that are big. And this is where I said, like, Blake's alcohol line with a movie that has and is somewhat themed around DV, that is just wrong. That's not ignorant. That's not naive. That's not, trying to create empathy, because you're not. It's not like trying to pull people in, because it's not. That has nothing to do with it. Flower arrangements, yeah, sure, because it's about a flower shop person, you know. I said that's so weird. They're keeping it, more lighthearted. Okay, it doesn't mean that you ignore it, but whatever. And the other thing is, like, they didn't, I'll say, Wayfair didn't ignore that CF is CF, you know, cystic fibrosis. Is like, they didn't say, like, oh, don't, when you're doing press, don't talk about this. She didn't mention this, and I didn't find that. But again, it's odd because it's hard to like go back and watch things, but and be at that in that mindset. But yeah, so I came across to this point, and I was like, there's no way, because in the next parts she starts, well, she has other people read these posts.
Distance is difficult, but love finds a way to overcome all obstacles. At 5 Feet Apart film with Cole Sprouse and Haley Lou Richardson made me realize how thankful I am to have my mom in my life, even if we can't always be close to each other.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read through all of these. So I thought, well, there's no screenshot. And this is like where my mind, I need proof, right? I don't trust. I don't trust easily. You need to like earn my trust. And obviously the person reading it is definitely with their own agenda, and the whole video is with their own agenda. however this is true. These are real posts. At least one of them is. This is an article from 2019. So we know that this is not just now people going back like and writing things about back then. So this actually happened, and people were saying that um, the influencer posts were taken down on in March, and how it was not a good look. All of these started with ad back then, I guess. I don't know if is that still a thing on Instagram. But anyways, because that was for me, I'm like, there you go, it's fake. Because no one, posts like that. Apparently, that's not true. Um, so yeah, so all of these, they were, I guess, documented. But it's interesting that there's only one screenshot. There's people that saying these ads are just adding to my disgust towards the film. It's clear that the creators do not care about CFers and cystic fibrosis people, and that they are simply using a misguided facsimile of our struggles to create drama for healthy, abled people. Wow, facsimile, aka facts. Anyways, but yeah, again, and this was March 10, 2019. This sounds very much like It Ends With Us criticism, right? So, if anything that they should be guilty of as far as marketing is they did not learn from their mistakes. um, Although we do have Jamie's email to Sony, was it, or who, saying, hey, the public is not really enjoying this marketing, so maybe we need to pivot. So, who knows? But this is very much like It Ends With Us. Um, you know, Creators do not care about CF. It's clear because of how like these ads were and blah blah blah. But like I said, I think for this one, it looks a lot more like it was trying to create empathy with people who don't have this experience, so they can come and see the movie. And you can say, well, that's because they want more money. I would say maybe, or maybe because they really believe in this movie, and they really believe that if you watch it, if more people watch it, they did it for a reason. And it wasn't because there was, I'm going to pull this back up. It wasn't because there was a book that was famous and they wanted to piggyback on it because it went the other way around. Or because, they stole this like screenplay allegedly, that it ends up that it was at least ruled that it wasn't stolen or whatever. It was a dismissed case. We may never know. It could also be because they really want to make these movies, and they really want to do good in the world. And doing good in the world does not come with, you're not immune from making mistakes and just doing stupid things. And also, I don't know if this is like the stupidest thing, but I can understand this actually more than the coloring book and nail polish. People will hate me for saying that, but like I just didn't understand why that was so offensive. I understood the one nail polish, like the name of it, just like with the alcohol and naming rile me up or whatever. Or is that the nail polish? What's the, I don't know. Oh, gosh, there was an alcohol drink that Blake named on set, not on set, but for like whatever. Anyways, you get it. Um, or if you don't get it, sorry. I can't help you. And that sounded so condescending. I meant like I literally, like, my brain's not working. Like I wish I could. Um, but yeah, so I understand this more. Like this definitely felt a lot more like, whoops, that happened. That shouldn't have happened, maybe. Because these ads, so this is like the one screenshot that I've come across. I haven't seen any others. Whoa. Bournemouth again? No, Dartmouth. Just kidding. So this was one of the people, paid partnership, and hanging out with my grandparents for his 94th birthday. I read this last time, anyways. So these were ads. For each part, For each person tagged on any partner's posts, $1 will be donated to cystic fibrosis research. So it definitely is a bad marketing move as far as the times we're in. It is trying to latch on to, empathy is trying to latch on to like trends, the tagging of people so you can have it spread. Uh, Whoever is deciding on the marketing at Wayfair should reconsider whether like reconsider the people in charge of it, because I'm not sure that it's Justin, like, because they are a company and he might have final say, or Jamie or whoever, but it could be like they're advised by a marketing team. So whoever is doing the marketing definitely needs to like change it up. That's what I'll say. Like, it just feels amateur. It feels amateur. It feels like not necessarily something I would do, but something that I would absolutely see being told to do, and maybe even do myself. I don't know. I feel like it's a lot distasteful. I can understand the distastefulness that people felt with this, but I can also probably wouldn't have seen that initially. So I might be someone who would have done this too, but I'm not a professional. Like, well, I am a professional, but I'm not like, I'm still an amateur marketing person. Um, Sorry. People are speaking up for Justin and are willing to testify. No one is stepping up for her. Blake's PR is probably using her to try and turn the narrative. Yeah, I used a big word. um, and then I heard she named her alcohol after one of her children. Did she? Oh, yeah, Betty. Yeah. Well, no. So Betty Betty Buzz was her original line of drinks, and it was alcohol free. And then that was like a few years before Betty Booze. So it was like she was already tied to the name. Or are you talking about like something else, like specifically? Let's see. Gosh, um yeah, I think it's just the Betty Buzz and Betty Booze kind of thing, yeah. So, um yeah, but I know that she had um rile me up, rile you wait, rile you wait. Yeah, oh my gosh, if she named it rile me up, that would have been also a different story. But yeah, so she that's the one. Sorry, we'll bring this over. That's the one I was thinking of. The rile you wait in yeah. I don't know. It was like one of the, press tour parts that she did that. Anyways, but back to this story. So, um, yeah. Um, Hold on. Okay, cool. Got one yawn out of the way. So at this point, I was like, oh, I'm in this whole video. I'm in it now. I can't stop. She goes on and
Get lightning fast internet starting at.
I almost want to boycott YouTube. I'm not, going to be able to do anything. I'm one person, and also I'm just starting here. And I know I should be like, oh, ads, yay, monetization that I'll one day maybe possibly, who knows, get. But I hate commercials. I hate ads. It's not going to work. Why don't they get it? And I feel like that's exactly why they're advertising more and more and more and more, because everyone's like, stop showing me ads. I do not want to see it, and I do not want to buy whatever you're seeing or you're showing me. And so they're like, oh my gosh, our ad revenue is down, or like our ad whatever is down. So let's pump more ads. Let's like be more aggressive. Or so I think. So anyway, it goes on to she talks a lot about how so many people have these really like legit reasons to be very angry or at least frustrated or troubled with these ads. Um, like this person seeing these posts infuriate me that this is how they're sponsoring CF. They barely mention CF. Living in a different state from your family member and having to just do phone calls is nothing like two people with deadly bacteria who can get each other very sick by touching. This is being twisted and out of context, and it's a shame. You can go visit your cousin, aunts, and uncles without possibly killing them. These are disrespectful, and frankly, I am not going to stand for anything like this. Don't add CF at the end, like your last quick thought. Um, Actually, do research on the disease and inform people on what CF is, not this rubbish. And this might be also a catalyst. I don't know, but it might be a catalyst for Justin taking It Ends With Us more seriously about DV. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. It seems like he really did as far as like the actor in him. Um, I don't know. I think it's not looking good. But the main thing that I think those ads were kind of the main thing. There's so much. I don't want to give her, more views necessarily because, like I said, it's like really I don't support her. Not just because of this movie. I don't like people like this um spreading not misinformation only, but like misguidance. I don't They're misguiding people, and I don't like that. But again, this is unfortunately or fortunately or whatever, neutrally a good point with this whole thing. What else did I write before this? There's a huge focus around the love story and around like how cute Cole was or hot or whatever. I don't know if that was one of the ads or just like the general marketing of it. Um, yeah, I again, when he talks about Wayfair Justin, he talks about covering broccoli with chocolate. And so when you take it to the whole public, you'll have people that will see it that way and people who will see it like you're not respecting the broccoli. And, you're, I mean, one day maybe I'll try chocolate covered broccoli. It sounds terrible. um, but, that whole idea can easily be can fall through the cracks. It can fall through or like develop cracks. So yeah, there's what else is there here before I go back to my notes? And these are the ones. Oh yeah, this was from, so they were the ones directly. The movie marketing. Has hearing high ever made you melt like this before? Leave a heart eye emoji if you agree. Get tickets to see 5 feet apart now. Link in bio. Also, put your freaking links like a good, true marketing person. Not just them. I'm saying like everyone. I hate the link in bio. I hate it so much. Let me tell you one way to ensure that I'm not going to click your link is to put your link in bio and tell me that. Anyways, random. Rule breaker, hopeless romantic, your next crush. Watch Cole Sprouse in 5 feet apart. On digital 5/24, May 24, and Blu-ray. Oh my gosh, Blu-ray and DVD. So I'm gonna let that hang in there. Does this sound very familiar to? She was saying like grab your friends and wear your florals. Yeah, I think with that, what bothered me more was the alcohol. That was like the main thing that bothered me. Like, how are you going to like use this DV movie or movie with DV that is at least wanting to be about it? Because to be honest, that's what it did. Um, and you're going to like out of everything. Like if it was just the hair care line, it would just be like, okay, you're just full of yourself or you're just selfish. But when it's like alcohol, you're just it's wrong. It's beyond tone deaf. But besides that, the wear your grab your friends, wear your florals. The again, that was like really insensitive. That was bad. That was bad on whoever came up with that one. And then the you remember that one like it was the one video where they were on stage and she mentioned Taylor Swift and I think Melanie is it Melanie King? I don't know. I stopped watching her. I only watched two videos. She lost me with the whole like what's his name, you know, what's his name? My gosh, I can never remember that guy's name. Blake not Blake, Ryan's supposed lover. You know who I'm talking about. I don't remember his name. But you know, if you presented that story, I'd be like, oh, this is crazy, but I'll still watch you. But once you pull out your voices and you're ridiculing real people, no, you lost my respect. You lost me. But anyways, so I am very harsh on that because I feel like it's just like I it bothers me so much and it's wrong. It's just bad. I want better for humanity, not worse. Um, but yeah, so in that clip though, where she talks about like, oh yeah, I had to like, I basically don't. Blake Lively was saying she doesn't take no for an answer. She doesn't know what no is, and you know, like as far as like getting songs in the movie and stuff. And she also mentions at the beginning that was like that had me floored that this is a fun summer movie or romance or whatever. And you know what's like really making it worse in my mind right now in this moment in this second is she didn't even like her co-star. Her main co-star and director of this movie, she had apparently so many issues with or so much problems with or she just didn't like or hated or whatever that makes it even more weird that she said that. Just again, that fakeness, you know? Just that. I know like market I hate marketing. I hate marketing. It feels like so much of a relief to be able to say that. Not going back there, but you know, doing. I mean, there are some things about marketing that do enjoy, which is like the branding. I love branding. I love like putting brands together and like coloring wise and you know design wise and stuff. But I don't like the marketing where it's like that like borderline with sales. Hate sales. Hate sales. Okay, anyways. So, but back to this. So, yeah, it sounds unfortunately, fortunately, neutrally, very much like the same. So maybe that is one thing that Blake didn't lie about. And I don't know. I'm not here. Sorry. Gosh, I look so so much like I'm struggling. Um, maybe that's not something you guys want to hear. It's not something that I want to say. It's not something that I necessarily want out there because I don't want this like you give an inch and you take the whole arm or body kind of thing that might develop out of it. But I think it's important. I don't really believe in like just ignoring this because it doesn't look good or because it might create doubt that everything else might be, this way. Except um again, the other stuff like we have like really big proof on. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, this sounded very much like that. That kind of like, oh, I'll just use this as like, oh, look, we're so cute. This is a romance movie, blah, blah, blah. She also talks about how they, what was the other thing that she shared? Oh, feel the feels. Did you feel all the feels while watching 5 Feet Apart? Prove it. Submit a video of your reaction using the hashtag, and you just might be featured on our channels. And that was like the kind of relationship. And I'm surprised she probably just doesn't know this because she didn't follow Justin that much, but um, you know, there was, or read his amended complaint, because it was in, ironically, his amended complaint that talked about how he wanted to, or whoever advised him wanted to use, victim stories and post them online. And I remember, I think Jen Abel was saying like that's not a good idea or something. So yeah. He might just be like an old guy that doesn't really know certain things. But um, yeah, this is, to me, not looking great as far as the marketing part. Would I like? I'm not seeing this and saying, "Oh, I'll never watch a movie of theirs," or "I won't support them," or "They're liars," or this. No, just like with Blake Lively, the first time that things, looked bad and that she might be lying, or, you know, even if she was telling the truth, like the truth wasn't what it was kind of trying to be made to sound like, and all this stuff, I didn't like dismiss her and her case and everything like right away. Like it takes certain proof, and what I'm seeing here is nothing that's like damning as far as like these people just doing bad things and being immoral. I'm just seeing like bad marketing that's all around us all the time. And same thing with Blake Lively. To me, like her marketing thing, the alcohol marketing part, that is like the strongest thing that's like so wrong. Um but I right now, and the whole problem that I've had is because she's suing these people and trying to like trash their lives. It's a huge difference. It's not about a marketing of a movie going wrong, or even doing a movie and let's say it is exploitative or opportunistic, which I don't believe it is. But let's say that it's not the first time, and it is what it is. You don't want to see that stuff, you don't want to see that stuff, whatever. It's about like her trying to like attack a number of people, seemingly, I guess, for her vanity. Um, to put it very shortly and not exactly, comprehensively. And that's like, the lying is the problem. If you made a movie and you didn't get it right and you were insulting with your marketing, and because you didn't understand how it might come across to people that are dealing with this, and whatever, pivot. Pivot. Like, it seems like they wanted to pivot with It Ends With Us, and do better next time and whatever. But if you start suing someone for things that you perceive that weren't actually happening or whatever, and then you're like creating other things, like I don't know. I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm saying like this is important to like know and share and stuff. Um, but it's not changing. Um, I'll say it is changing one thing for me. It's changing that I it depends on what day and what moment you ask me, but mostly I'm confident about Justin Baldoni, Wayfair, Jamie Heath, Jen Abel. Well, I don't know about Jenna Abel and Jen Abel and whatever her name is. I don't know about those two, but Wayfair, Justin, and Jamie, that side of things, I feel generally confident. Like, okay, yeah, they have truth on their side. They, whatever. But this is not shaking my confidence in, the truth of the SH stuff and even the retaliation. Um, because you have to have SH with the retaliation, and I don't think SH happened, but we'll see. What's shaking my confidence is that they might win a lot of this. I think that this isn't going to cost them a win in, the main issues. Um, but as far as like the marketing part, I think that one they might not win. I don't know. We'll see. I'm very curious because it sounds exactly the other way that this could go is another layer of Blake and Ryan, using his past against him, Justin's past against him. Like they tried to use his words against him when they had him supposedly, they wrote that statement for him to say. And I mean, this is not supposedly, but they used his words against him in the motions to dismiss and stuff. So, in that sense, like they could have also gone back and said, oh, here's like, stuff that people had an issue with from his first movie that he directed, and, let's do that same thing. But they wouldn't do that because it would cost them money. It wouldn't make sense for them to do that. And also, that is not the alcohol stuff. He didn't promote alcohol or anything with this movie. So it's more likely that this is probably that the marketing plan did come from Wayfair, um, or wherever. I don't really know how these marketing things, or Sony. I don't know who created this. Let's see. Wait, 5 feet apart. Distributor. Lionsgate, Stars Entertainment, Paris Films, CBS Films. Okay, so it wasn't Sony, so it's a little different. She ruined her own reputation. Even if she comes out with her own movies, produce, direct, or act, no one will watch. Oh, now, no, yeah, now, no. And and this is, I'll say with this whole stuff is like, I'm this hasn't changed my mind about her or what they're doing. And I mean, it's just unveiled so much of what her and Ryan are doing. There was, I think, Lauren's one of her videos recently. She was, it was, I think, the motion response from Ryan Reynolds. She was like pretty angry or disgusted at Ryan Reynolds, um, and I think she was a fan before. And I thought about this, like Andy was a fan before too, and it's interesting. It's interesting that I don't know how much it'll spread through other people that aren't tangled into like this news. Um, but yeah, I think yeah, but I think these are separate things. Just because someone's like screwing up on marketing, that they need to do better and have more less ignorance and more understanding. And I think marketing just, this is why I hate marketing. It just screws everything up. And when you're trying to do something with a meaning and for a good cause, it's really, really tough because you want it to be seen by as many eyes as possible. And how do you get that seen? And I have felt that impossible situation almost, like with doing this. There's many times where I've felt like, you know, sh- promoting myself, I guess, more. Like at the very beginning, I would like write a lot, um, in with it in mind, like, oh, if someone like sees it, on different chats or in comments or whatever on different channels, like, oh, I cover this on my live. And some of it was just genuine. Like lately, I'm like, how can I say this without saying that? How can I like go around it? And a lot of it is like, I just can't lie. Like, it's really hard for me to just like admit the truth that, like, oh yeah, I covered this on my own video. um because like it's not like I just like volunteer that, but at one point there were times when I would just volunteer that for that sake, because it's like you're so desperate to, and you eh, I hopefully you don't do anything that you don't believe in, like you're not doing a movie or a podcast video podcast, whatever this is, or anything that you're not believing in. And I remember a life coach telling me, like, you make these you make these like vlogs. Sorry, I'm gonna come out for a second out of this. You make these like vlogs that are so long, like 45 minutes or more. And, if you have something that you really want to share, wouldn't you want that message to get to people? You would. So maybe, make those shorter and just keep it to the main thing that you believe in, that you want people to hear, to be exposed to, and not all the fluff that's not necessary. And, the people that might need your message will not get it because you have all this other stuff. Obviously have not learned my lesson much. Still very much doing the same. It's really hard not to. I'm discovering last night I was recording vlog part, and I think it has to do with ADHD. And I don't, when I mention this, it's not because I'm trying to blame everything on ADHD and escape my own responsibility. It's because I'm it's new to me, and I'm trying to figure out what it is and what it's not. And there are so many things like, oh my gosh, like, this is where this came from, and it's not like, oh, it's not actually my fault, because it is. I mean, it is, technically my brain and all my wiring and all that stuff. But more so like just discovering this new thing that, oh, I didn't know this is the reason. I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. Um, no one will watch it or are willing to ruin Baldoni. I don't know. I don't know what that was. That in something that I said, or to what you said about watching her movie. Um, but yeah, anything else on this? Because it is a long, what do we call it, a video, and again, but mostly it's just like these people saying, this is tone deaf, this is disgusting, this is offensive. I missed this one. Cat. I don't like these cats that you can see like the different color fur. I don't know. That's weird. It's a very specific thing to say. I mean, I like them or don't like them. I don't know. What is this? Don't we have all of this already? Okay, anyway. Cats. Priceless. Priceless. That's like my parakeets. When now they started going to sleep. Like, they take a nap when I'm like going live, if I'm doing it during the day. But before, they were like just like in my face on, like, when I was video chatting. The moment I would pick up the phone and start talking, and the other person started talking, they would or my Otto, my main parakeet, my first parakeet, she would like come right on the phone and like look down, like, who is it? So cute. Blake and Ryan will stop at nothing, it seems. Yeah. Yeah. They're in it now. They've been in it. So yeah. So the other part, sorry, I did want to cover this. The other part is, it was there is a quite a bit of a comparison to Fault in Our Stars, another movie I didn't want to watch because I was like, I don't like these movies. No, thank you. You cannot cover broccoli in enough chocolate for me to watch these movies, and that sounds terrible. And then maybe you were going to start understanding why they probably were doing the marketing that they were doing for people like me, who I'm like, I don't want to see tragedy. I don't want to see people that are struggling. I don't want to see something sad, or I don't want to see, people going through like unfair things, or, terminal illnesses. Like, no matter how much chocolate you pour over that, and how much love and cute and romance and whatever, humor, whatever. I mean, I think there are some exceptions, but I've not seen one movie that's like that. Because all of these movies, Fault in Our Stars, Walk to Remember, 5 Feet Apart, and others. Was the one with Miley Cyrus last song? Was that with a terminal illness? And then there's the one with George Clooney and what's her name? I don't know. Anyways, they all have a very similar feel to them and marketing to them, and or like visuals, not marketing, but like the visuals and all the stuff to them. And just no. And she does go into this how what is this? I've always been deeply cynical when it comes to these Fault in Our Stars ripoffs in general. The genre is sick lit romance. Sick lit romance has always felt to be deeply exploitative and voyeuristic, but something about 5 Feet Apart really rankled me. Rankled. Ooh, new word. Going back to the marketing for this movie, I finally stumbled exactly on what it is that bothered me. Fascination, the movie seems to hold with a metaphor of being kept apart from the people you love. If I were forced to create a working definition for my own personal experience with inspiration, corn, it would be the absorption of other people's literal physical illnesses as metaphor and motivation for your own personal struggles. I disagree with this. I disagree with this on the fundamental basis of empathy. We need empathy. And empathy sometimes is taking your experience in something completely different and understanding someone else's experience in something completely different, based on that. Because you can like say, oh, this is like this. I can understand why it can feel, because sometimes it doesn't go deep enough. So I can understand why sometimes that kind of empathy sort of bridging can feel I don't know, not enough or even insulting. But I don't think that it's always, if you're doing it right, as far as like you're really trying to relate to someone. And I take this from Meisner. So when we do Meisner, you think of scenarios that a lot of times, at least like back in the day when I went, we were taught like your like daydream is completely different than the circumstance that you're about to go and play, on stage. And it's very personal to you, and it's something that gets you to the same place that your character on stage, or you know this like circumstance that you're about to play out as an exercise in class, that same place that they would be in. And it starts off with like the simplicity of just like level 10 anger, level 10 sadness, level 10 happy. But then it's like it's more intricate because you're developing relationships. The exercises that we do is like you get to complex relationships and so on. And so you're like I was doing, oh, I can't tell you, because it's about paradise, but that was the one that came to mind. But today, like the complex relationship was that it was like a 3-person exercise. So there was me and this other person. We were married, and I lost our child. And the other person was a police officer that was like trying to like kind of keep the calm or whatever. And so like I don't have that circumstance. I can't relate to that circumstance. And it was like really actually really hard to emotionally prepare for that. And but what you usually do is like I've used my parakeet to like double for a child or something like that. And what if something would happen to my parakeet, my one parakeet, don't tell the other one. It invokes the same emotion and the same empathy, like the not the same empathy, the same circumstance, the same state of being, the same mindset as if it was a child. And even when you say that, people would say in the past days, Aru, my little white and gray, the one that I've had for like 2 years and a half now, just because she's like the original. She's the OG. So that's why she's like my favorite. We've bonded. We've been just the two of us for so long in my apartment over the years. So we have that bond. Um, but yeah, and that's the thing. So like it's that kind of the same bond. Like my parents are driven crazy because I'm so protective. Like it's 9 o'clock. Everyone go upstairs. My parent needs to sleep. Or like, I get so protective. So this is where I can understand this, you know substitute empathy situation. If you really can't relate, it is helpful to relate from a place that you can come relating from. Did that make sense? I don't know. So, although I agree and I understand and I know how at times it can be insulting, because I also have known and have felt people that have like surface level empathy, or they think they have empathy, but they don't. They're just trying to like relate, or they're trying to like have sympathy, where it does feel like I don't need this right now, and this is like insulting, or it's not helping, it's doing the opposite, and it's actually hurting because you're relating, you know XYZ to XYZ to MNOP, whatever. And if not done right, then people are not actually ending up empathizing, but they're actually just um kind of having this ignorant relatability to it. So that's what they're talking about. That is why it's like really hard to do marketing and catch everything. This is a really hard thing to like accomplish, what I think they were trying to do, which is like pull people in. And maybe I'm giving them too much credit. I will own up to say, like, I don't know. I wasn't in the marketing meetings. I never worked at Wayfair. I'm not there. Like, I don't know. Maybe they weren't thinking about that. Maybe they were simply thinking simplistically. And they're like, oh, here's a trend. Let's get on that. Here's another trend. Let's get on that. Or, whatever. I don't know. But based on like what I heard like Justin talk about, as far as like what started him down this road with um being kind of having this fixation of people in their last days, it came from his grandparents. And so, or his one grandparent. And so, like, I think there's something sincere there, but maybe he's lying with that too. I don't know. But I believe him, and I think there's something sincere that started all of this, but it's nuanced to get that right, and to get that like marketing of it right, and to get that project of it right, and to do enough research, and to please everyone that needs and deserves to be pleased, the victims, the survivors, in the and it ends with us thing, the people that are like going through like having CF, or their family members, and so forth. And it can be very difficult to kind of encompass all of that. So I'm kind of really in the middle of this. I am absolutely pointing out that this is true, that this is a side to it, and the ads were not a really great look. And especially, knowing and seeing the ads with It Ends With Us, and how like it's people felt like it was tone deaf and stuff, and they're like doing the same thing again. So yeah, but yeah, both sides. What else did I want to say with this? There was another one. Oh my gosh. Because sorry. um Freaking look at the freaking screen. Just look at the screen. Also, buy a teleprompter if you're going to read. She reads the whole time. So I don't understand why she didn't buy a teleprompter. There are some cheap ones. Sorry. that's just a personal thing, whatever. Um, oh yeah, this is so there was the screenplay, and then there's this also uh love story. The media called them the real life Fault in Our Stars couple. As you'll see in 5 Feet Apart, the course of Stella and Will's relationship runs quite differently. Oh, the other part, sorry, I just remember the other part was that she was criticizing is that they killed off the only gay character and in the first part, and that um mm, it was like as soon as like he was going to tell his boyfriend that he loved him or something, like he died or something. I will say that is an unfortunate. I need to watch this movie, but it's nowhere, and I don't want to pay for it. Oh, the library. The library probably has it, maybe. But yeah, that if that's like the case, that's not a great look either. Um, and the other part, I think that's the last part, because this I don't really feel like it's super relevant. Um, oh, the cat's back. I like the cats just like sitting there, like I don't know. Cats scare me. I'm not a huge fan of cats. Um, but they are also funny. She goes over this, not too much. Like you can see, this is an afterthought with the whole like case. But let me just go through my notes because there was also the Baha'i stuff. At one point, saying she was saying that there was a lot of, or people were saying, I don't know, that there was a lot of Baha'i propaganda, and I have thoughts on that. So I said that point. Yeah, the first part was like, why are you not moving? Um, just posing to the side. If well, you guys don't watch 90 Day Fiance, but on 90 Day Fiance, there was the last episode, I think, had two of the characters, Sarper and Shekinah. They were characters, people. They came out, and no, I don't believe anyone told them this, but they're so vain. They've done so much plastic surgery and stuff that I think that's just who they are. They came out onto like this terrace to watch the sunset, and they were like posing, like really, like you can see them posing, and that's what I feel like with this. Like, no, don't do that. Oh yeah. I thought it interesting because she didn't blame the influencers for these ads, but she blamed Wayfair, and I'm like, that's interesting because during this whole lawsuit thing, the influencers are getting blamed. You know, they're not saying, "Oh, well, they didn't know better. They don't know better. They're just like whatever." No, we are getting blamed. So I thought that was a little hypocritical, but moving on. Um, I said, does this compare with promoting your alcohol brand on a DV movie? I don't think so. The whole context of did you have the feels? Grab your friends, wear your florals. And I said, and I think she even says that, it ends with us was kind of screwed up on that part from the beginning because it was adapted from a Colleen Hoover novel that had a bunch of marketing mishaps and things that went wrong with that and bad choices, and also just the novel itself isn't the best for some people, as far as like good representation of DV and things. So yeah. And then yeah, My Last Days, how that's exploitative. Again, I don't think it is. I kind of trust what Justin was saying, that it came as an inspiration from visiting his sick grandparent, and um, it's something that a lot of us struggle with, like avoiding and fearing death. So sorry for whoever came on just now. welcome on that note. Um, and I think in his quest of trying to figure that out, and how some people end up so happy, or they hold on to the happiness and the joy, even to the end, and the hope, and they don't give up. Like, I think it's a fascination for a lot of different people, and I think it's not necessarily exploitative. I guess it could be. I don't know. I don't know what the criteria is, honestly, for one or the other. Um, because everything is to some degree exploitative when it comes to art, or to especially Hollywood filmmaking. um I feel like it's a nuanced conversation that I'm not prepared to have right now. And I guess I'm sort of defending him, but it's really like my opinion, and as also as someone who um is like in the artistic creative world. And when, like, I can think of times when I've wanted to share something, like on a vlog or here, or when I've wanted to write a song or make a movie or whatever. And there are times when you're inspired by something, and you want to showcase that, and to talk about that, and to have more people see that or learn about it, or whatever it is. um yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's there's a lot of nuance in the world that uh, you know it's worth considering. Also, I don't know, it's not the biggest thing for me, biggest violation, the marketing mishaps. And even if they have done these movies, or Justin has done these movies, or whatever's shows, etc., in mind with, like, oh, this will like sell, kind of thing. I don't think that's the case, unless I see proof otherwise. I'll believe him at his word, just like Blake wants, to be believed at her word, and everyone wants to, ideally. And we did, until we saw proof otherwise, right? So, um, that's where I stand with that. I don't think it's exploitative, but um, yeah, I feel like that's not. I don't know. Well, I guess, like, if it is truly just like heartlessly, done, then yeah, that's horrible. That's horrible. Um. Okay. Anyways, so moving on. Creative license is always necessary to tell a complete story. Missed this one. So, um, it matters how you target your movies, etc. What did I mean by that? But yeah, creative license is always necessary to complete a story is something allegedly, apparently, that I think Justin Baldoni was quoted on saying when there was like criticism around, like, something not being exactly right, or exactly, um I don't know. It was something around, and I don't know where that was in her video. I don't know, and I cannot take any more of these ads. But it was something around like the love story, and the I think because in the end they touched or something, they risked it all, or something like that, which I think created backlash, like that. You're just showing things that, don't put bad ideas into people's minds, kind of thing, around that. I think that was it. I don't know, maybe I'm making things up right now, that I like piecing together from all the different things. But this whole idea of creative license is always necessary to tell a complete story. So, um unless you're doing a documentary, and even in a documentary, you'll notice that the time is different. It's not like, exactly at the same time, like in the same, like a second doesn't equal a second. But and our documentaries oftentimes are very artistic, actually, to be able to um, make the story comprehensible. With fiction stories, it's even more so. There's definitely, with songwriting, I've learned this, with filmmaking for sure. Like, you for better or worse, I don't know, but you have creative license. You try to get across the essence of the story, the essence of the message. Actually, this applies to, we were doing movie of the week, Sid and Nancy. If anyone has watched that, I kind of want to watch it now just for the acting part, but I don't want to watch it for the everything else part. But Gary Oldman was saying in that, and Timothy Chalamet said about A Complete Unknown, and their preparation being, taking the essence of a person, understanding what they're about, who they are, and why they're doing what they're doing, and then play. When the director yells action or whatever, you don't focus on like holding the cup the same exact way that person held the cup in that scene. Especially if you have like video footage of that person, the real life person. It's about embodying who they were, the essence of them, and then that will dictate how you move, how you speak, how your facial expressions, all the things. And it will not be a perfect copy, but it's not about mocking the person or like copying the person. It's about presenting the essence, because that's why you're doing a movie. That's why you're playing a certain character, is for the essence of that. um, and so I agree with this, that of unless you're doing it's a good conversation to have, because a lot of the conversations now are like, oh, this movie's not accurate enough. And I think we do need to keep in mind what movies should be super accurate and what movies should be. The one thing that I did like about It Ends With Us is the way that, I don't even remember if they did a good job with this, but the idea of us not seeing any DV until she remembers it. Like, oh, and then we see the actual like scene of it. But in the moment, it's like, you don't even see that she got hit. You just see her like holding her hand or something. I forget how that happened, the first one, or, all these things. So like, I like that. And that's creative license. That's like, trying to invoke emotion and to explain things in a way that us as humans really deeply understand it. Songs are great examples of that. Many songs are not literal, and they're, I think Taylor Swift has like a very good handle on, putting enough literal, but also having a lot of creative license around how it sounds, like her songs sound and the message of it. And also, like, I've experienced too, like, I don't even know, we don't know at the end of the day the difference. Only she will ever know. But I've done that where it was the most freeing and the most awesome experience, where I was writing a song about something real, but then I just went with this where the song took me. And it was still in the same realm, but it was definitely like more exaggerated, or like um it got the essence, but it started having like things, examples, whatever, that weren't exactly like real life, but it got the idea. So that's what I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly what that was in response to. Maybe I'll like um put it in the description after this movie if I find it again, like the minute or whatever it was. I don't know how to do that, or like talk about it on Friday. And then yeah, Walk to Remember, Fault in Our Stars. It is interesting that, like, when did this movie come out and when did Fault in Our Stars come out? 2014 was Fault in Our Stars, and 2019 was 5 Feet Apart. Yeah. It's better than Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached, which I believe came out in the same freaking year. That will forever. That's history. That's like movie history right there. That's crazy. Literally the same exact freaking movie. Just with one hand, was it Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis, I think was one, and then the other one was uh whatever his name is, her husband now, and Natalie Portman. Yeah, it's interesting, and it was like slightly different, but the same thing. So potato potato. I will not hold that against any movie because that's usual. That's like okay. I also like. I feel like in creativity, like I wanted to have a movie club where me and my friends would each take the same script and do it differently because we would do it differently. It would be interesting to see how different people approach the same concept or the same script, even. So, yeah, for that, I don't see any issue with that. But yeah, this sick teen drama genre and romanticizing severe illness that feels exploitative. Um, so I kind of agree with that one. I don't know. Exploitative is quite strong. Again, I feel like you, to kind of bring in the law terms that we're kind of learning, eh, to call something exploitative, I feel like we should understand that it's from a malicious standpoint, like actual malice, and not just because you saw an idea, you got an idea, like, oh, that would be a good idea to like turn into a movie, or sorry, to like do a movie about like I see it from this angle and I feel like this angle should be, shown to the world. And things like that. Like that's like art. That's art. If we wouldn't do that, we wouldn't have I'm going to say most of the great art that we have in the world, the great paintings, the great sculptures, architecture, movies, music, etc., if no one would copy anyone or be inspired by anyone. Because things like even when artists do their own stuff, they evolve through different things. Like they, draw this phone. I keep picking on the phone. They draw this phone one way. Like saw Picasso. There was an exhibit here with Picasso, and like there was one famous. Well, I mean, there were a lot of different ones, but there was one like sculpture that you could see the iterations that he went through. And at first they looked, and oh sorry, and then this other one, this lady that's like laying on her side, and they were like they put this big screen and they were showing every single iteration that there was, and how it started with just a very like natural look and then slowly went into cubism and his own style. So even an artist does that. And so like I don't, and then we get like an amazing final product, and maybe even in between they're like amazing, like oh that alone could have been it, that was good enough, but then he kept going. So that I don't feel like is a good point to make about any movie. But I do think this like sick teen drama and romanticizing terminal illness, I don't think that's great. No, I don't think so. But that's not Wayfair. That's like everyone, everyone who's done any of these movies or books. Um, oh, and then they were criticized because they said touch is as important as the air we breathe, and I'm like, well, but it is. Babies. Maybe this has been disproven, but when I went to psychology classes, there was an experiment that showed that babies can lose their life, can die without touch. If you have, and then you also have like different like personality issues. Like when you see people like, children like going back and forth, like to comfort, to soothe themselves and stuff. That kind of comes from that too. Um, so yeah, like, and it's also shown on the other side that human touch, when we hug or just like any kind of nice touch, obviously, it like the brain lights up in a certain way, and like we secrete different hormones, like, or whatever we do with hormones. I'm not sounding very credible, but I did read this stuff. But yeah, like, kids, if they would have given food and everything else and shelter and warmth and all that stuff, but they weren't touched, infants would perish, and then older kids like could develop other issues. So it is important as the air we breathe. It's just people don't talk about that. Okay, and then here we go with the Baha'i thing. So I said, I think I've not watched this movie yet, disclaimer, because I don't find these movies appealing at all, and also because I can't find it for free in any of the many different. There is no excuse in today's world in 2025 for any movie to not be at least on one platform. There are so many freaking platforms. It might be on YouTube TV, maybe, if it's like on cable at any point. But yeah. Uh, oh, they look boring and preachy and something else I wrote. Yeah, to me, that's, yeah. And then there was like an insurance thing that Ophie Dokie said that was a lie, because when a child turns 18, um, their insurance doesn't stop in 2019 when this movie came out. Um, and I would say, okay. It's a really weird. I don't know, I feel like it's a really weird, like, yeah, didn't need to go there. But also, there is a possibility that's true too. Chad GPT said no, that could be a thing, depending on the insurance, and each insurance company kind of can also dictate, that kind of stuff. But there was that law, but there is like some exceptions to that law, and I don't know, whatever. But here we go with the Baha'i stuff. So, um, the one character supposedly, again, I did not watch this movie, and this is she didn't show a clip of this or a screenshot of this, so I don't know, and I was trying to find it, but I haven't found it. But apparently this one character was reading this book about birth and death being the same, which is a Baha'i theory, and I'm like, isn't that also karma? Oh, not karma, but yeah, well, I mean, um, why can't I think of it? Reincarnation. Reincarnation. And the book about soul and immortality, or immortability. I'm sure they said immortality. I don't know. And the Afterlife app. There's an app called Afterlife, or in this movie, or in life. I don't know. But all those are, I guess, the soul and immortality are Baha'i propaganda. I believe that's also a Christian notion, that the soul is immortal. Another note. So, okay. And yeah, she kind of said like, if this would be the same if the Fault in Our Stars director put in Scientology book. And I said, isn't that just like all the Bibles that exist in movies and all the like Christian, you know, sayings and things alluding to Christian ideas and ideals and things like that? Isn't that the same thing? Like, let's not treat, like, as much as I am not a fan of Scientology, but let's not treat any of these different. Like, that bothers me more when you're like, but Christianity is like this. It's like, no, it's also a made up thing that some people believe is real, and it might be real, just like anything could be real. Any religion could be real. We, sorry to break it to anyone, we can't know right now. We'll find out maybe after we pass on. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I can tell you that I don't think we have the ability to know anything like that right now. So, um, I guess I said that with too much of authority, but I really believe in that. But we have belief systems, we believe things, and that's all we have. And so, like, if someone wants to put their religion something in their movie, it's something that's happening all the time. And I think a lot of my distaste with this kind of not hypocrisy, there's another word, maybe hypocrisy, like when you're say, like, it's double standard is the word that I use. The thing with the double standard came a lot when this whole Israel and Palestine, is that how you say it in English? Palestina is in Romanian. um when this is playing out in the news, and having friends that are Palestinian, or at least one, and understanding, and no, yeah, so understanding that, I don't know, this is breaking news maybe for some, they're human too, and they are good humans, just like any other, culture, any other ethnicity, country, people, etc. And same with Israelis and all that stuff. Like, everyone's human. There's good humans and there's bad humans. And it bothers me so much, the double standard that happens in the news and in the support now of the US, that we're supporting Israel. I don't want to support Israel. I'm sorry. I don't. As far as like having like bombs and weapons and whatevers, I don't. I don't. I don't believe in that. Um, but here I am because we're paying taxes, yay, and I don't have a choice where that money goes, and it's going there. Um, and so yeah, I don't like the double standard, and that's kind of where I'm coming from with this Baha'i thing. It's like, okay, I understand that you might see it as something that's like Scientology, and I see Scientology as something that's bad, or like not. It's like more like a cult or something nefarious rather than something like good. But I know for a fact that from history, historical fact, that Christianity was also a cult at the time. Was it a cult or something like very similar to that word? If not, yeah, cult. Um, was it like Baptists? Well, in Romania at least, Baptists are a cult, and they're not really a recognized religion, so to speak. Um, and so yeah, like there's all of that, so when, like, if we're even alive in thousands of years, maybe Baha'i will be like the main religion or whatever of this planet, just like Christianity. I don't know that it's the main religion, but you know what I mean, like major religion. And or Scientology or whatever, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, and the other part is like, if it would be something, I don't know. I guess I can see people's point, but let's not be, again, with the word hypocritical and hypocrisy, let's not be hypocritical that Christianity doesn't do that, that Judaism doesn't do that with the movies that, are made by people that are Christian and Jewish. Not all, but some. And that, like, we separate church from state, because we don't. We talk about abortion as far as like voting on it. That's not separating. That's not being neutral and recognizing that there's a bunch of many different religions in this country and many different ideologies, I should say, in this country that don't all believe the same thing, and just fairly so, because you don't know. Oh my gosh. It takes me back to watching Army Hammer and his mom. Like, gosh, I don't know. I felt like he was a strong one to go through that, but that's his mom too. So, and he's a boy mom, so, or like yeah, he's a boy to a mom, so that might be different than like, girl and mom relationships are. It would drive me crazy. I could not. I don't know that I could do that. What he did. If my mom was like really just like that. But anyway, so yeah, I also found it very interesting because this birth and death thing, wasn't that like, maybe I'm kind of making connections that are not there, but it reminds me of Interstellar, where it's like, it just like mind bend to you, like, where are we, what are we doing, what is time, what is us, what is going on. But yeah, birth and death being the same. I also think that I've heard that before, the Baha'i stuff, or like um I don't know, it sounds familiar to something else. I don't know. Okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think that's kind of it. Oh yeah. Oh, and I closed the video. Oh, more ads. More ads. I don't even shy away from sharing this because I'm sure Blake's side probably watches her all the time. But there's not so great marketing campaign portion with Justin and his wife. Where is it? For sure, if anyone comes in right now in this video, they'll think that I'm not the supporter that I am of Justin's. Um, but it is what it is. Oh my gosh, this is so excruciating trying to find this post. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Found it. Thank goodness. I was just getting um, discouraged. So there's this post, and it says 5 feet apart ticket giveaway. And this is on Justin's Instagram. The best. Sorry, I'm struggling reading it. Yeah, I can't zoom in more. The best 3 PG-13 captions win tickets to see 5 Feet Apart this weekend. And a wink and tongue face and a laughing emoji. Crying and laughing emoji. This is him slapping his wife's butt. His pregnant wife butt. I don't understand why that makes it worse. I don't understand why that makes it. I don't think that's bad. But the giveaway part, also talking about PG-13, I don't get it. Let me just say that. I don't get it. Why this? Out of so many different possible photos, why this? I don't get it. Does not look good. As far as that. Not as age, not as age, and all that stuff. But again, it doesn't look good as far as like, um, I mean, mainly marketing, but also maybe you can say like his like, um, social, not social cues. What am I trying to say? Social awareness or something. Um, so yeah. And I mean, that's kind of like obvious a little bit in the complaint stuff where Like he's doing things that are, innocent, but they aren't with the times necessarily, where they might be perceived by someone who is um, a little swung all the way to like see everything with a very certain light. Them, I mean, sometimes, most of the time it's a stretch, but sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I can see how someone in that area would not understand the innocence of this. But yeah, but this one, I mean, it's not innocent or non-innocent. It's just I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get. I don't get it. I don't get it. What did they even say? Way to go, champ. Good game. Remember, Nurse Barb is always watching. Um, when Raphael on Jane the Virgin likes to have his side chicks. That is not PG-13. Author Kira Watson or whatever. Something you would do, but yeah, I saw your hands. Could have sworn he was a doctor. My bad. What? He does look like a doctor. He should play a doctor. But yeah, I don't. None of those are actual things. But okay. Um. Oh yeah, and she called him a tragedy vampire. Ophie Dokie called Justin a This is taking way too long, and I was like, oh, we're getting through all of these. Darn it. Another one that I don't get through all of these topics, but yeah, and a creep and an obvious creep. I'm sorry. Um, and not. Oh yeah, I said not sure why after indeed watching the whole video, because she said this at the end, like, oh boy, Justin supporters are not going to watch this video, especially until this end. I did watch it the whole way through, but especially like watching it the whole way through, I don't understand why she said this obviously shows that he's a creep, because I don't see, there's a bridge missing between the two for me. um and yeah. um I've spoken about pro Blakers, yeah, often talk in circular references, trying to make things out of the little information and trying to excuse or dismiss the stuff that's coming up. But yeah, the tragedy vampire thing, I don't know why I don't have more notes on that one, because that was like, that bothered me. I don't think he's a tragedy vampire, but also, again, I understand the perception because he's done a lot around that. But I think there's a talk somewhere. I don't think a TED talk, but something where he talks about like what inspired him, like his grandparent or grandparents, and then like like once you see that, and maybe I'll try to find that for Friday. Once you see that, you could understand why he's not just like, oh, I want tragedy. I want to like suck the blood out of tragedy. When I don't even know, but yeah, the tragedy vampire thing, like is it empathy vampire, empath vampire, or whatever, emotional, what are those vampires? I was called that once by someone who is that. But anyways, um yeah, so yeah, and then yeah, I said this is a challenge because I'm sure she's not watching this all the way through, but this is a challenge to Ophie Dokie, and if she ever watches this, talk about her, Blake Lively, grabbing Henry Golding. Is it Golding or yeah, Golding? Talk about that. I want to see how she spins it, because like if she addresses that fairly, great, but I want to see the spin on that, because a true feminist would not spin that as like, oh, he was like fine with that, or he was asking for it, or it's just like what men have done for thousands of years. So what's wrong with a woman doing that? Like, that's not a true feminist. That's not a legit thing. So yeah, I would love, that's like my challenge to her. Talk about that. um, and other terrible marketing that Blake Lively has done. I don't know if maybe she did talk about the alcohol thing. Again, it was hard for me to watch any other video of hers besides this one. Um, And yeah, and I said she clearly does a lot of research and would love to have that same thoroughness for things that are not cherry picked only to prove a point that she wants to prove. That's like my final 2 cents. For and also for anyone like Lauren who feel like I'm not understanding what Ophie Dokie does or who she is on this platform, and somehow by choosing to talk about this, which I stand by. I believe this was worth mentioning again because I'm not here to coddle or to I'll coddle anytime with someone. Like I am not um like what's that? The hard coaches, tough loves. I don't do tough love. This isn't tough love. This is just presenting something that is on, showing a negative or more negative side to someone we support and or the company that they are a part of that we also support. And it's about staying true to my word that this is not biased. It is biased, but I'm trying my best to be fair. And if something that doesn't look great comes up, I will talk about it. And I will not pretend that I didn't see it. It's I To be fair, I that did cross my mind because I did think like, "Oh my gosh, if I talk about it, will it dismantle, you know, everything?" Because you never know what things can be taken and turned and twisted and all this stuff, and what else could be out there and could be found out. But then if we want the truth and we advocate for the truth and we keep yelling and screaming that the truth needs to be heard and the truth needs to win, we can't cherry pick either, and we can't turn a blind eye to stuff either. So that's where I'm coming, where I came from with this, and I stand by it. And it honestly did bother me that it bothered me, like Lauren's take on it. Um, but she's also like, I also felt like this is not her demographic or like what she covers. She doesn't cover like news or like deep dive. She covers documents, you know. And as I mentioned, like I'm less and less interested in covering the documents because it's really hard to read and they're a lot, and she does a much much better job. At least like I don't know, staying on top of it. And she has the pay she pays the pacer stuff, so she has it all there. So yeah, won't get to Oliver's Stone or anything. I've been going way too late to bed. I cannot do that. Are there any new documents? The only ones that I'm able to access is the one that Lauren read on her live 2 days ago, yesterday, not 2 days ago. This just came out. This is Ryan Reynolds' response to the motion to dismiss, basically saying, obviously, like they said nothing. It's just like so stupid. And then this one is Wayfair requesting an extension from the 14th. Wait, no, not the 14th. Yeah, April 14th to May 14th for, oh, I didn't read this part, for parties to respond to any interrogatories served upon them, and to April 18th for something else. The amendment, I think, if they would want to do another amendment. So these are the only ones that I see. Lauren is the court of random opinion. She'll probably pop up here because she's like, her videos are always there for me. This is Lauren. I'll share that. She reads all of these. I'll say that I do like my reading better a lot of times although I'm not the one that's listening to it, but I like, how I read better. But I like that she is thorough, she is faster than me, and the moment a court is filed, she will go live and cover it, or at least like say that it is. And yeah, and I think, and she also has some lawyer friends, or one lawyer friend, and a couple of other like friends that she does lives with, that chime in. So yeah, if you've not watched her, watch her. Um, but yeah, like I I don't see myself. It's been really really hard for me to cover all the documents, to read it. It's just been very hard, and I don't care that much. I care a lot. Again, I'm watching this movie, The A Nice Indian Boy. Yes, it looked interesting, but I wouldn't see it, and like I'm going out of my way to see this because it's related to Wayfair. And I care a lot. And I spoke about Ophie Dokie's a song. Oh my gosh. She should have a song. She sounds like that's like a good stage name, right? But yeah, video and all that stuff. Like I care about this topic a lot, but reading the documents, I feel like there are people that are much better equipped. Ask two lawyers, I think they don't read the whole document, so that's kind of like for me, because I do like the idea of reading the whole thing. But once you read it through Lawrence, or if I read something and then going to them for the understanding of the law, yeah, but it's like understanding your strengths and weaknesses. And I feel like I don't know how it translates in the camera and the screen. I don't know how you guys feel about it, and about me reading, if I'm good at reading these things or not. um but I don't feel like it's a strength, because it's so hard for me, like, physically a lot of times to read, with like my eyesight, and I think ADHD too. But that, when I'm reading it out loud, the ADHD part helps. And yeah, I just like I think another ADHD part is like I dive into things, and then now I'm kind of at the burnout stage where I can't dive that much. I can't go that hard on stuff. So I choose my battles. So yeah, I don't know. It's so hard. I wish I could read it all. I do wish that I could like just read all of them. Um it's just not working out that way. But yeah, but she reads every single one, every single one. So yeah, if any, and she reads it as soon as it comes. So I appreciate that, Maria. I'm sorry, because that's how I started, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Trying to figure it all out. It is 12:30 over here, and yeah, check her out. And oftentimes I'm in the chat there too. And I know P often is there, and some other people. I forget. Oh my gosh, my brain. I hate sleep. But yeah, so tomorrow I get to see this movie. I'll let you guys know how it is. And then I'll be back Friday, if not somewhere in between during the day, to get all the other stuff out of the way. Um, Awesome. Yeah. She does this. She's able to like redirect, like once her live is done, literally redirect you to another person's live. But she's not live right now, so I guess that wouldn't work anyways, but I can't. But yeah, check her out. And I'll see you hopefully Friday. And I'm gonna try my best to have like, I got an idea, especially with the Patreon thing, because I'm trying to like get that like solid and or in a good place. But of having like a dance party, but it's I don't think the idea is flushed out there yet. But like an actual like I'll create a playlist. We can like co-create playlists, and then we can all listen to it and like have a little dance party, kind of like some people did during 2020 COVID times. I didn't have the right friends. My friends didn't do that. I didn't know where these were. Um, like virtual silent disco sort of things. But yeah, I really love the music concept somehow. I want to integrate that into the Friday lives. But yeah, I want it to be fun and like, Wednesday can be like this, Monday can be like whatever Monday is. But Fridays, I want like the wind down or like pumping it up. Can't even speak anymore. So, but yeah, hopefully I'll see you Friday, Maria, and then everyone else have a great 2 days, and I'll see you whenever I see you next. Peace, love, and compassion, and critical thinking, and whatever else. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm tired. Good night. Good night, Maria. Bye. Have a great night.